When you subscribe to Microsoft Azure, you create an Azure subscription, whether it's a trial subscription for a couple of months or it's long-term agreement. As an enterprise agreement with Microsoft, or maybe you have a pay-as-you-go subscription where your credit card is and get charged every month at the end of the month for your usage of Azure resources. Everything you own in Azure is inside your Azure subscription. There's only one thing really that lives somewhat outside of your Azure subscription, and that is Microsoft 365. If you've enrolled for both an Azure subscription and a Microsoft 365 subscription, you have two different entities. When you purchase your Microsoft 365 subscription, you have a different set of services and functionalities that are part of Microsoft 365. Most of those, and I'll talk about that one exception, are really hosted and managed by Microsoft 365. So Microsoft 365 has its own portal or admin center that you access by typing admin.microsoft.com, and in here you can manage all of your Microsoft 365 resources, and we have plenty of courses on Microsoft 365 that you can explore. But essentially you'll be able to create different things such as email domains, SharePoint sites, create Yammer groups, Microsoft Teams, all of these different settings and sources that are used to collaborate for users to communicate with themselves and others, to share documents with each other. Microsoft 365 is an example of software as a service solution, something that we talked about a little bit later, earlier in the course. Office 365, the primary element in Microsoft 365. However, you have some other functionalities such as Microsoft Intune, or the ability to enroll devices and manage the devices in the organization. Now, through all of the sources that live in Microsoft 365, you have one very important component that can, and I say can very specifically, it can be shared with your Azure subscription, and that is your identities, your users. So in Microsoft 365, I clicked on users. I can go ahead and create user accounts, and those users accounts will be able to have mailboxes and access SharePoints and access all of the great services that are part of Microsoft 365. In Microsoft Azure, I don't have user accounts here, but I have an Azure Active Directory. Now, the Azure Active Directory is the directory service that manages all of your identities that are also used to access the various resources in Azure. The two can be the same. You can have one directory that is used both for your Azure subscription and for your Microsoft 365 subscription. That entity or that directory would become the default directory for Azure and the default directory for Microsoft 365. When you create a subscription with Microsoft 365 and you already have an Azure subscription, they will try to tie the two by they don't need to be the same. They may not be the same. Some organizations may want to have a Microsoft 365 infrastructure that has a different Active Directory entity and therefore a different list of user accounts than the one that is being used for your Azure subscription, and that is managed through your user accounts in the Azure Active Directory. The users that I can create here from my Azure Active Directory, I can then retrieve from Microsoft 365 and edit that user account in Microsoft 365, and then assign access to the various Microsoft 365 services. Microsoft 365 and your Azure subscription can be linked if they are linked together the same Azure Active Directory. They don't have to be linked. The benefit of having them linked is having a single entity or a single directory of Azure Active Directory that's used for both services and through both portals.